thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and chat to us. Really excited to get into this. We're going to do like a little podcast episode, so you're going to have people listening to you and also watching this as well, which is really nice. And it's always fun to get, like, we like to call them super subs on our podcast app. So today you are our super sub.
Oh, cute. Delighted.
Yeah, how's everything been? Obviously just back from international break. How's it all going?
Yeah, it's all been really good. Came back a few days ago and been our first day, everyone back in training today, so it's just been really lovely to just sit down with the girls again and everyone be together. It's been a good session on the pitch as well, so looking forward to the weekend.
What's it like? Because obviously a couple of different people, a couple of different teams, different scenarios that they've all gone to. Like when you come back, do you all kind of chat through everything that's going on with national teams or the highs and lows, or do you find that coming back to your team kind of helps you manage any of those highs and lows you might have?
No, everyone definitely comes back and it's the conversations over breakfast. It's like, oh, how'd you get on? What went on with this? So everyone's gossiping, having a little chat about what happened with the game. So it's really nice. But I think normally that's a breakfast chat and then we all go in the gym and it's just, everyone's just focused on the Spurs again.
What's that?
Obviously you just come back from injury as well. I guess, how was that period that you managed? It seemed to go pretty quickly in the end.
Yeah, it felt like it went really quickly. I actually got back ahead of schedule, which was really good. So got a lot of credit to the medical staff and the physical staff here at Spurs. They're absolutely brilliant. I can't fault any of them. So got back ahead of schedule and I just got back on the grass and I just felt quite good in myself. So I think that helped with the progress of being able to get more minutes recently, which has been good.
And when your first game back was the North London derby, wasn't it? I know it wasn't probably the best day as a team, but I guess to get back on that stage must have made it really special.
Yeah, 100%. And it's my first opportunity to get minutes in the North London derby, so that was something ticked off for me, being able to play in that environment. So obviously not a good result for us, but it's something that we'll learn and we'll build on. And just personally, I was just really happy with it to just get back on the pitch again, like you said.
I was going to ask about that, like in a stadium that big, like that kind of derby match. What was it like as a player? Kind of when you're walking out, you hear it, you hear the roars, and what is it like for you? Do you drown it out on the pitch, or can you actually absorb it a little bit?
I mean, it's quite surreal, like when you think about it. Like, you know what you're doing, and as soon as I walked down the pitch, I was like, wow, this is really cool having this many people as the most amount of fans I've ever played against. So. Played in front of, so that was really cool for me. A few years ago, 2 years ago, Ella would have been absolutely like bricking it about doing that, but I just feel a bit more mature in myself now, and actually the occasion didn't really get to me. I just took it in. I was like, this is really cool, but at the end of the day, I'm just on a football pitch and there's just more people watching. It didn't really affect me in the end, which was nice to feel myself be comfortable in it.
You've been on quite a journey, and I think when we last spoke to you, sat down and spoke to you, it was at the media day at the beginning of the season. You just signed for Spurs. I guess, how do you feel the last 6 months have gone, and kind of how have you developed in that time?
I mean, I think I've developed so much, not just on the pitch, but as a person as well. Like, it's been up and down with almost like the momentum within myself in terms of the injuries and stuff, which has been a bit of a setback. I've not really been used to being off the pitch for that long, so it was a little bit tough. But again, I've been surrounded by great people, especially like this recent injury. Being in the gym with Kit Graham, who's been absolutely fantastic. She's a brilliant character to have around the team, and she was brilliant for me in the gym the whole time. So I'm just delighted to see her when she comes back, and yeah, she was massive for me in that time recently.
I feel like in the period you've been here now, you're kind of taken off. Like, I know injuries aren't anything a player wants to go through, but a lot of players who have gone through injuries often talk about how they've helped them in terms of like valuing the game time, understanding rehabilitation and the mental side of things. You know, you've just come back in front of a big crowd. Like, you're taking off quite a few kind of things that are helped shape you as a player. Yeah,
no, definitely. And for me as well, it was really good. That time in the gym almost allowed me to focus on the certain areas of improvement in my body that will help me to stay on the pitch long term. So again, sitting down with the physical performance staff, the medical staff, being able to show me, okay, this is what we want to work on. And now I feel in a really good position physically. I put on a lot of muscle mass, which for me is probably needed. But yeah, it's been really good. The gym as well, you can see out onto the pitch of everyone training and performing, so it just gives you that extra motivation to get back out there with them.
I guess it's something we don't really talk about enough, is that move up from the Championship to the WSL. It is a jump up. So for you, you're coming to a new environment from somewhere you've been for quite a while. Everything's changing. So it's good to have those chances to settle and adapt both your mind and your body?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like especially the mind, like you touched on, just it was really good for me because I think when we spoke at the media day, I said how settled I felt already, which has been really key for me. Is that this does feel like a home for me now, which has been really good to help me feel settled. And then I think the more settled I feel, the more the confident I feel, which again, that transition to going back on the pitch, I've just felt myself and I felt really good. So again, credit to the environment here.
I was going to ask about Robert because, he has vocally touched on wanting to be able to be a club that breeds, the next generation of lionesses. So you must feel quite supported, I guess, as a young player coming in here, knowing that like if you're putting in the work, you will get the opportunities.
100%. I mean, that was one of the reasons that drew me to this club when I first sat down with Robert, and he told me like the honest truth, which I really respected, which is in terms of I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to start every game, but I'm going to promise you that we want you to start every game, and with that we're going to help you and we're going to develop you to become a starting player. So I love the honesty with that, and I love that he wasn't guaranteeing me that to just try and get me to sign. He was telling me he wanted to develop, which for me is everything. All I want to do is get better every single day. So that was what really sold me on this club.
And I guess that competition for places does really help as well. It does bring you to new levels. And I imagine when you're competing with Ash Neville, who's been here, she's one of the OGs in a way. What have you learnt from her and, in your position specifically?
I mean, for me, that another reason, Ash coming in here, always respected her when I was in the Championship watching the WSL and really rated her style of play. So it's been really exciting to work under her and learn off of her. But like you said, for me, watching her tenacity, I think her tackling ability is really good, and that's something I want to improve in my game especially. So just being able to watch how she does it day in, day out in training is really exciting for me to see, because then again, like you said, the competition aspect, I want to then go and push and get a good tackle in to try and impress as well. So it's really good. I love working with her.
And I guess it shows that pathway is there, because she came from the lower leagues up, and I guess you coming from Southampton and moving through the leagues and coming up to the WSL, it's kind of a similar journey.
No, I think it's definitely been similar. Like I've played in Tier 5 football. I think Ash has been similar with her journey of coming through the lower league. So again, with that, I think you kind of learn your craft in there. Again, it's can be quite scrappy in those leagues. So it's fun to play in, and you get a lot of. For me, I think that's where I've become a bit of a transitional player. That's where I thrive. So there's definitely so much to be learned in those leagues, and the playing minutes that I've got, I wouldn't have wished for my journey to have gone any way different, because for me as a young player, all I wanted to do was play, and I got those minutes, and that's essentially how I've got where I am, because I've developed on the pitch by getting those minutes.
Yeah, I guess that's built you the foundation, right? And I'd love to know how the international setup has, I guess, fed into your development domestically then as well, because I guess you go away, it's new challenges, you're only getting 1 or 2 games maybe within a window, and you're facing very different opposition that, like, at least in the league, you kind of know the teams you're coming up against. So that must really help develop you when you then come back and play for club.
No, definitely. I think especially growing up in the youth age groups, that was massive to go away and play against different styles of play, especially in the academy. You're playing the same teams on rotation, so you know the same players, like you said, but going away you're playing against different styles of players, playing different formations, and you get really exposed to that. So that's brilliant. And then again with the 23s, like in our recent games, they've had senior players that have got senior caps playing down, so again it's just more challenges, which for me is just really exciting that I've got those opportunities to play against those players and learn as much as I can from them. The more investment there's been, the better coaching these younger girls have had. They've been in academies for longer periods of time, so the standard's only going to get better, which is really exciting. But again, I'll say older, but I'm not an older player.
Please don't say that.
Though I feel like it sometimes. For us, we're almost looking over our shoulder now at all these young players coming up and the amount of development they've got, so it's only pushing us on more, and I think it's really good, and the game's just going to new heights now, and it's really exciting to see these young players coming through who are just, again, like Michelle Aguiman, me coming into that camp, and I was just watching, I was like, this girl's like 18, 19. I'm like, wow, she's amazing. So it get really exciting to see it all happening.
Yeah, if you're an older player, then I'm ancient. So let's not say that.
Our dreams are truly dashed, yeah.
In terms of your journey, obviously you're from Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get started in football, and what was your first steps into the game?
Well, I have to give credit to my sister, unfortunately. So she's 3 years older than me, so anything she did, I had to do. So she joined our local football team called Frawley Falcons. So I think I was about 5 when I joined that team. But before, we'd always had a kickabout in the garden. I was just playing at club football there, and then again, my sister got scouted for the Hampshire Centre of Excellence. So I went along to that for the under-9s, and I stayed with Hampshire all the way until it transitioned into Southampton RTC. When I was about 14, stayed with them till I was 16, and then our women's team had just been formed and were put into Tier 5, so I trained up with them and played in Tier 5, and then we won the league that year, and then my first senior year was in Tier 4 football, and we just kept winning the leagues, which was really good, and then had a couple of seasons in the Championship with them pushing for WSL, but we just fell short, unfortunately, on those 2 seasons.
How special was that time, though? Because quite a few of you made that move up, I think, from the kind of academy RTC structure to the senior side. So kind of doing it together and going through the motions together. So I guess that is really helpful.
Yeah, it was really helpful. A lot of us all transitioned together. I'm still really good friends with a lot of them now who are still playing football, either at the club or at various different clubs now. So it was really exciting for us to grow up together and get to experience that together. And I think it's nice when you have people like that around you. It really drove the culture within the team. We all just got on really well in those seasons where we were getting promoted. So it was the perfect foundation for us to play good football and progress.
I love that your sister is why you got involved, because so often when we have these chats, it's the brother or your dad that got you involved in football. So I love that you had a sister to look up to get you into the game. Were there any other women's players when you were growing up that you looked up to?
I mean, I've got to say the main one, right? Lucy Bronze, obviously. I think she was always the player that people would look up to, just because of it's hard for defenders to win individual accolades, which she obviously went and did. So to look at that and to see her consistency, she's still performing at the highest level now for Chelsea in England. So a little bit when we played Chelsea at Kings Meadow, I remember walking past thinking, oh my God, this is really cool. Little Ella would be really, really amazed that she's got this opportunity now. So obviously you've got to say her, because plays in the same position. She's still pushing the standards even now.
She's, I think as well, a really good example of how that position has developed over the years. It's something that we noticed with Ash Neville as well, where it's become, as the game has developed, it's become so much more of another attacking outlet. And I guess maybe that's why you're seeing the likes of Lucy Bronze and stuff getting those recognitions, because the requirement for that position has just gotten even more difficult. Yeah,
and that's especially why for me, I love that position. I love the physical side of football and being able to run more than people, being able to sprint more than people. Because I always feel like if I can work harder, that's for me a main thing. If I can work harder than you, I can get that little bit of edge over you. So yeah, it's definitely evolving in the game. You've seen it in the men's game, and then it transitioning over to the women's game now. So I think there's talks every single year when you go into the club. They show graphs. They're like, everyone's getting fitter, everyone's getting faster. You've got to get fitter. You've got to get faster. And I think that's just really good. And I love that side of the game.
When it's been such a big year for you, big couple of years for you, making that big decision to move away from home, come to London and play for Tottenham. But when you look at the next 12 months, I know footballers go day by day, but what are your big ambitions for the next year or so?
Stay on the pitch. Stay on the pitch, first of all, which I'll be doing with my injury prevention. So touch wood, we're all good there. Just try and push to get as many minutes as I can with Spurs. I'd love to try and become a mainstay in the starting 11. And then obviously with England, everyone's always looking towards that senior step up. But at the minute, just staying focused with the 23s, getting as much minutes there as I can, like you said, playing against different opposition and just learning as much as I can.
Yeah,
sounds great. Well, I hope it all goes really well for you. Delighted you're back on the pitch, and doing so well both internationally and with club. It's really exciting to see. So again, thank you for taking time out to sit and chat with us. It's been great.
Thank you.